What's up, everybody? Evening Hour is live right now. Grab some drinks. What the heck? We're on live, folks. I see Amanda, William, who else is in here? Come on in. Mondays can be fun, folks. All right. Come on in. Cheers. Happy Monday. All right, it's Monday, and I gotta tell you, I gotta turn off these crazy lights. I've been obsessed with all of these newfound lights, because lighting has gotten cheaper now. Wow, look at the difference. Look at the, wow. That's amazing. We got Silly, Rick, Willie, come on in, everybody. Yeah, this is interesting, this light. Yay or nay? Is it absolutely annoying? I think it is, maybe. So, anywho, Mondays are kind of fun because, for me, I plan the week out a bit, and I like doing that. That's kind of fun. A lot of people hate Mondays. Yeah, I have a wildcard show. So, if you guys have episode ideas, subjects, weird crap you want me to talk about tonight, throw it out there. You can even do, if there's something I've mentioned that maybe I didn't go into detail on, tonight's a good night to do that. And I'm also in the planning phase for Behind the Devil's Curtain 7 and 8. So we'll talk about that tonight. Come on in. Oh, Silly, you think the lights are better? I don't know. I kind of like it too. This is kind of flat. And this is kind of cool. Especially with the smoke. Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. All right. Yeah. Well, that's why I did the lights for the Alien show. I was like, I try to make those shows have some sort of layer to them. And that's what I did. But I can see now, like, that's almost too intense. Wow. All right, cool. And then here, look, here's the hand cam tonight. The hand cam is looking good tonight. Dude, whoever invented flow incense is a genius. I mean, it's the lava lamp of the new era. Am I right? It's got to be. It's definitely like a lava lamp. And how they work is they drill a little hole. They make the incense and then they hollow it out somehow. And then when you light it, somehow the hole sucks it straight down. It's pretty cool. Let me adjust. My camera's not correct. There, it's correct. So, yeah. Oh, man, I can't see the chats now. Dismiss. Check it out. So, I'm going to tell you tonight what I'm working on, and I think you're going to like it, and I think it's going to spawn some discussion. Behind the Devil's Curtain, Episode 7, I'm working on the tentative title, but the subject is on psychodrama. Some of you are familiar with that. It's a concept that is now used for therapy. For me, all ritual is a type of psychodrama, but I only use that word in the extreme. So that's what the episode's about. And I think I'm going to entitle it Lessons in Lycanthropy, because that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to give the werewolf lesson, how you can turn into a werewolf, which I can't wait to do. I was telling my mother, who might be watching tonight, about the new episodes, and that one, she was like, I don't want to turn into a werewolf. And I was like, well, then that episode's not for you. I think some of the people in here might want to turn into a werewolf. I certainly have turned into werewolves on a few occasions, so maybe I should try to turn into something else this time. How about a were-monkey? Wow, I've never seen that. Have you ever seen a were-monkey? Have you guys? I have a studio audience here tonight. Have you ever seen a were-monkey? No. I've never seen a were-monkey. I've seen a were-bear. I've seen a werewolf, obviously. What other wares? Were-rat I've encountered in role-playing games. But a were-simian ape or something, I've never encountered. The other episode I'm working on, it's one of my favorite subjects that is considered to be taboo in nature, even amongst some of the intellectual elites won't talk about this, and that is the historicity of Jesus. It's been a fan of mine forever. Oh, a were-dragon. Wow, okay. I like that. But the historicity of who we call Jesus Christ. Looking at it from a historical point of view, from a historian point of view, has been one of my favorite things, and I've discovered some amazing stuff along the way. And so that's an episode. And then wait till you hear this. So I made a list of potential episodes that are going to happen sooner than later. The night ritual one I did already. That was the sleep. I'm definitely going to do one on just hypnosis, straight up. I'm going to do one. It's called Third Side of Ghosts. And it's going to be like the UFO one, but ghosts. And my research on ghosts took me from spiritualism to the study of sound frequencies, specifically 8 megahertz. The ghost note. I got a fuzzy. This fuzzy stool makes fuzzies go in the air, and every now and then I get a fuzzy. I was saying LOL to your mom not wanting to be a werewolf. Yes. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, imagine your mom, like, telling you she didn't want to be a werewolf. I'm going to do one called Be Careful What You Wish For. The Art of Wishing. And I have a friend who invented a wishing machine. Literally a gadget for wishing. Whether you believe in it or not, it's an amazing gadget, and he's an amazing person, and I'm going to do an episode about him. And I'm going to try to get him to jump on. I have one called, well, okay. Here's a really controversial episode. You ready for this? It's going to be called Slaves to the System, and the entire episode is what the Bible says about slavery. New and Old Testament. That's an entire episode. An entire episode. Most people don't. Most religious Christians don't know the actual details on that subject, and I think they should know. I think everybody should know. And then I'm going to do one on, it's called Evil Eye 101. The Art of the Evil Eye, which can be very handy when you're about your daily life. And there are ways that you can present yourself in a very non-threatening manner that other people are threatened by and go away. And that can be used to your advantage. That's a whole episode. So I hope some of those sound interesting. Let me know if any of those sound interesting to you. Yeah, those are subjects I think about a lot. One of my hobbies, ever since I was a little kid. Ooh, the refrigerator. My refrigerator's beeping. Grazie. One of my favorite subjects as a little kid was to read the Bible and then figure out what it came from, what mythology it was borrowed from, what physical phenomena happened, and the guy interpreted it that way. For instance, if you saw my my ventriloquism episode, it showed you where in the Bible it mentions ventriloquism. That blows my mind that they've mentioned ventriloquist in the Bible. Now, in the Bible, the ventriloquists aren't cute guys with puppets telling jokes, right? They're necromancers, okay? So when I was a kid, I was looking for that stuff constantly. And the story of Exodus, the plagues, the Jesus miracles, the one I always talk about in my magic class, Moses has a magic wand. The Pharaoh's chief wizard has a magic wand. They're having a wizard battle, like Dungeons and Dragons style, right? This is in the Bible. I'm not, this isn't fantasy. Well, it's fantasy, but it's the Bible. Moses takes his magic wand and he throws it on the ground and it turns into a snake. And the Egyptian Pharaoh guy does it too. The snakes battle and Moses' snake wins. I hate to say it to the believer people, but that's a magic trick, a real one. So whether or not Moses is real or not, he's not. The historicity of him is even looser than Jesus. But that story comes from a magic trick that real magicians did in the Middle East. It's a type of an asp. It's a snake, and you elongate it, and then you squeeze the hell out of its head, pushing on its spine, and it becomes a rod. So you're able to hold it like a stick and move things and talk, and then at the right moment, boom, you throw it on the ground and it crawls away. Why is Moses doing magic tricks? Because they didn't know it was a magic trick. The guy that saw it and wrote about it didn't know it was a trick. So my life is, I've always been interested in dissecting the Bible stories. Even as fiction, how I read it, it's still based on real mythology or real events that were interpreted by Bronze Age humans. So, and I always have to remind me, Bronze Age Palestine at the time was pretty primitive in a lot of things, and they would view certain natural phenomena a certain way. The irony is, in Asia, they were way ahead of the game. Certain areas were more advanced. I always thought it was funny that God revealed himself where not as many people would see him. He should have showed up to China in like the Ming Dynasty. They would have been like, whoa, wow, gosh, what's that? Or how about, I'm trying to think, well, in the middle of Egypt. He should have just did it right there. That would have been cool. But yeah, that's one of my hobbies. So I don't know if any of you are interested in dissecting biblical stuff. I am. That's one of my favorite things. I think it's because as a child, I was told a lot of those stories were real. And then looking at it from the third side of sorts, as we all call it, I discovered things that were amazing, like just the fact that there are ventriloquists in the Bible. That amazes me. What amazes me even more is that people don't know about this. They don't know. If I mention to people that these things are in these books, they're like, "What? No, yeah, they are." Does anybody know who wrote King James Bible? Anybody know without looking it up? Not King James. He commissioned it. Who wrote, when King James was like, I'm going to redo the Bible and make it better. I'm going to tidy it up a bit, make it sound beautiful. Who did he hire? Anybody know? Well, I'll let you chew on it for a second. From what I gather, King James hired the best writers of the day. And that would be William Shakespeare, Ben Jonson, and the list goes on and on. And there's some evidence of that. The deal was, if you're getting hired to redo the Bible, you're not allowed to tell anybody. They were probably paid a lot of money, and I don't know, maybe they weren't paid. I'm going to look that up. There's an answer to that. Or maybe there isn't. Maybe he paid them under the table. At any rate, if you're getting commissioned to rewrite the Bible that's going to be around forever, as long as humans are around, that's a big job. Has anybody ever looked up any Bible verse in the last few years online. It's kind of cool because any Bible verse, anyone, look it up, you'll get like every version of it. 15 different versions of each, the American Catholic edition, the King James edition, right? Look at how different they are. One word difference changes so much, which is why the whole like, you can't alter God's word. It always means what it intends to mean. Just look up any Bible verse. Yeah. Oh, okay. See, my audience is sharp. Rick Sherman just said Psalm 42. If anybody has a Bible, go get it and look up Psalm 42 and count 42 letters this way, words, and then 42 words this way, and see what 2 words you stop at. Should we tell them, Rick? So, people, a lot of the famous writers of those eras, when they wrote, they definitely tricked it out. And we should tell them, Sherman. And like, for instance, if you count 42 words this way on Psalm 42, you come to the word shake. If you count 42 this way, you get the word spear. He did stuff like that a lot. That's what he was. That's who he was. His writings are brilliant because if you read it how it's written on the page, he worked into it how to perform it with the meter, the iambic pentameter, the beat work. It's all built into it. So that meant, and he also put some subliminal stuff. Like, for instance, if he wanted you to like notice something, he would stop doing iambic pentameter, the 10 beats per line, like ba-da, 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 that thing. He would stop and go straight to prose. And you wouldn't even notice it necessarily, but he would do stuff like that. So the fact that Psalm 42 says Shakespeare 40, that's something he would do that no one would notice right away, and it could be his little thumbprint. I would literally bet everything I own that he did that. I mean, he was very like popular and people liked him, and he most definitely got hired to work on some of this stuff. I would guess he did that. Thanks, Sherman. I forgot about that, actually. Yeah, Ben Jonson's another writer people forgot about. Shakespeare, nobody forgot about. Yeah, this kind of stuff fascinates me. I mean, think about how much history is here. I mean, it's part of the history of the Bible, and it just changed Western culture. I mean, that's just, it is what it is. Lessons in lycanthropy. Yes, I'm working on this now. I'm also going to do an episode on my favorite non-horror, because I kind of watch a lot of horror films, but I do have non-horror I like. Last night I watched, and I hadn't seen it in a while, Ed Wood. It's great. I mean, I'm not even a crazy Tim Burton fan. I mean, I like some of his stuff. I don't like all of it. I like that, and I like Pee-wee. Pee-wee is Pee-wee Herman. I mean, that guy, his fingerprints are all over that movie. Ed Wood is a great story about a great guy. I mean, it's just a great, juicy story. And they cast it well. The actors are good. Martin Landau won Best Actor for his Bella portrayal. And I gotta say, it's pretty accurate in what happened. I don't like biopics because they become fact. They're not the truth. It's movies are the reason I always bring up of the difference between fact and truth. Like, biopics, once they're out, that's it. That's the story everybody knows. That's the one. It's the new legend that goes on. Like, if you watch the Doors movie, the movie about Freddie Mercury, if you watch the Ed Wood movie, these are real humans. They live in our world. Now that film No one watches those and goes, that's an interpretation of that story. Nobody does. Nobody. And that's weird. So I'm very picky with biopics. The Liberace movie's a good example. Anybody see the Liberace movie? I like it. But it's not the truth. I know it's not. They used Liberace's disgruntled lover's book to make the movie. That I don't like. I didn't like that. Like, the guy's story already is sour. There's some weird... It's off. So, that alone's weird. But there's a scene in the movie where Liberace... Matt Damon's in it. They're great They're so good. I don't want to crap all over the movie because as a film, it's good. But now, people will remember Liberace as that. And that I don't like. Because there's some scenes in it that never happened and never would have happened. He goes to a nightclub and has some public display of things, and that would have never happened. And I'll tell you why. Liberace sued the Inquirer in England because they said he was gay. Now, Liberace was gay. Let's get that straight. Liberace was gayer than a day in May. Everybody knows that. Everybody knew it back then. But he was not comfortable being out of the closet with it. He was kind of like a devout Catholic. He's from the old world. It's a different scene. Hollywood was a different scene. So at that time, he wasn't out of the closet. He was nobody's business. And I'm fine with that. And so they publicly called him out for being gay. He sued them and won. Now, you think he was publicly going to, like, you know, group events? No. No. Didn't happen. Oh, you saw it, Amanda. Okay. Well, you didn't think of it as a biography, but I guarantee you 99% of the people that saw it look at that as how he was. I mean, that's how I used to watch movies. I saw the Doors movie, and I'm like, that's fact, you know? Not the truth. Okay, how many of you have seen the Houdini movie? Rick, what year did that Houdini movie come out? 54, 55, 56? What year did Houdini die? So that movie was made 25 years after Houdini died. Imagine they made a movie today about Joey Ramone getting shot on stage and dying on stage because a fan shot him. That would become fact. Joey Ramone died on stage. Houdini never died on stage. That's insane. Yes, it's a dramatic way to end the film, but Houdini didn't die that way. It's horrible. Like that, but it became fact. And so this is why fact checking for me is a little weird. Because sometimes the news will base their fact on another fact. And that fact is based on this fact. And you're telling me that somewhere in those three facts, they're all right to the truth? I don't think so. Even with, like, you know, a news agency, it's impossible to get it exact. Now, I understand that. But this internet fact-checking thing now that everybody liked because, you know, we don't like our politicians, they're not going to like it when they start doing it to your opinions. You're not going to like that. Because a lot of the fact-checking going on Twitter aren't facts. They're opinions. If you said, I believe the earth is flat, and they have fact-checkers going, that's wrong. It's like, I didn't state a fact. I just said what I believe. So you're now cutting a belief off. Like, I can't even say what I believe now. And I've seen it a lot, just so you know. It's not like I've seen a few instances of it. Or at least they send a warning light. They put that warning bar, even if you mention certain keywords now. Think of where that goes. People need to start thinking of... I do it naturally, and I know other people that do, and it seems kind of dark sometimes, but people are not good at thinking of where things go to. Like, you have a bunch of events, series of events, and then you react to it. But I think people need to start looking at where the train goes, because certain things are going to get kind of weird, We all like certain things when we like the boss. But when we have a boss we don't like those things. And that's what we always have to take into consideration. We're not always in control of who's in charge. We think we're in control, and maybe sometimes we are, but not always. And therefore, when we make decisions, we have to pretend like the people we don't like are also involved. That's just how I've always been. I assume, because of history, because of my own life, I assume there's always an ass. There's always that thing. The negative guy, the negative Nelly, the naysayer, the saboteur. There's always that character. And I don't think you can ever get away with around that. It's just the way it is. Somebody could have brain damage and behave a certain way. Somebody could have, I don't know, someone might enjoy it. Who knows? Whatever. There's a reason. They're there. And so I like to, at least, and this is where I have a little war with Stoicism. It's not a war. It's a nuance. And anybody in here who's a fan of the Stoics, Stoicism, one of the main principles is you're not in control of everything. The only thing you are in control of all the time is your opinion and your framing of it all and your attitude towards it. So therefore, you need to chill out. Stoicism to me is the serenity prayer without the God. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Right? To me, the serenity prayer is gold. You can get the God part out. We don't need that. Just literally, how can I meditate daily so that I figure out, all right, I'm not in control of that. I'm in control of that. Here's the dilemma. And here's what we can talk about tonight, which is kind of cool. I do believe that you can pre-plan. And the things that you might not be able to control through symbolism, ritual, and metaphor have a little bit more of a grasp on it. It's not perfect, but you can control some outside things. And I don't know. I'd like to read more of what other Stoics thought about this notion, but you can. I've done it. I know I can. I've done it a million times. It's not perfect. It's not always there, but through trial and error, I've figured out some combination lock ways to get things done that I need to have done. And it does go against a little bit of the Stoic idea. But I still respect that idea. I mean, it's gold. How many things in the day anger us that are completely out of our power that you can just be like, I don't need to even think about that? How many people anger us that are out of your power, but they are in your power in some ways? There are things that you can do and say to either remove them or at least get them to do something. Anywho, thoughts. Come on in, people. You guys are quiet tonight. Come on in. I have an exercise I'm going to throw out there. You can all try this. I did this in the shower 2 days ago. I had the idea I was imagining myself, and I do these kind of things all the time. And they're kind of fun because you do learn a little bit. Actually, learn a lot. Imagine explaining the internet to somebody in Greece 300 BC. Imagine meeting Diogenes the dog, okay? And you're like, hey man, I'm a guy from the future, and I'm going to tell you about something that's going to blow your mind. And you explain to him the internet. Just try. Sit down and think about it. Think about how many concepts, ideas, scientific principles, morals, new morals, privacy issues. Think about all the nuance to what the internet is and trying to explain it to somebody that doesn't even know that that your sickness is caused by certain types of bacteria or whatever. Like, they didn't even know that kind of stuff. Try it. I don't want to go into it too much. I want you to go through it and see. You can mention it on Wednesday if you do it. I'll talk about it more on Wednesday. I literally was in the shower talking to my Greek friend, imaginary Greek friend, explaining to him the internet and how great it was and how bad it was. But it took me forever to come up with a way to even explain it, and I don't even know if it would work. There's no way of me knowing, but I can guess what things they know, and I could compare it to a bit. Maybe I could draw a picture. But, yeah. Oh, wow. Interesting. Davidson says this. I'm going to read this, Davidson. It says, I do that all the time. Usually I'm talking to General James, Robert E. Lee's second in command. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, if there's like some people like historical characters, imagine explaining to them what it is now, what we have, how we live, how morals have changed. People don't understand this stuff. Our morale has changed. We have different moral codes than we did a long time ago. Some of it's the same, some of it's not. That's why it doesn't say in the Bible, thou shalt not own another human. It doesn't say that. It also doesn't say thou shalt not rape, which I think is kind of funny too. Why? Because our morals changed. We have new morals. Our moral code is way better than all those religious guys from back then. We have a higher moral value. Think about that. Yeah. I really do like play acting scenarios to see what kind of comes out. Because some things you can't do unless you do it that way. You have to really nuance it. Wow. I love this. I'm going to flip the record now. That was a CD, believe it or not. This is vinyl. Vinyl, for me, is the end game for music. That's the end. If the world ended and I had to live with what I have now, books and records, I'm cool, man. I got enough. I really do. I have enough reading material to last me my natural born life and never, ever, ever, ever be bored. I could reread all the material I have and have a wonderful time. The moral code needs to be updated for the times. Yes, Amanda, it does. Or does it just update for the times? That's the question. If it needs to be, or it just does because of evolution. Because we need to survive. It always comes down to that, survive. We as a species realized this is healthier. Animals have moral codes. If you have a group of chimps in a circle and one of the chimps is eating too much food, he's going to get smacked. Get out of here. Eventually they have a system. They're like, yeah, don't eat too much. It's bad for the group. Other moral codes would be like this. Certain things... Okay, here's a good subject. Oh, wow. I don't think I have a noise canceling on here. But the reason why you don't hear it is I do have it on very low. How about here? Do you hear this? Probably not. I see the needle moving. It's a little bit of Bach. What the heck was I talking about? God, we've gone through so many different subjects already. Oh yeah, we were talking about the exercise. Yeah, well, it's funny. When I'm reading my philosophy books, a lot of you guys are reading philosophy. Oh, barely at all. Okay. Sherman, you're starting to get into the Stoics. You love it, right? It's wonderful. You got to get I have it very faint in the back. You got to get Seneca's Letters. You got to get this book. Look how thick it's a really thick book, actually. And there's a lot in here. The reason why, it's funny how the philosophers, they didn't lecture. Well, some of them did. But the great ones that I'm reading, most of their material was not meant to be read. It was a letter or a journal or something. Or, in the case of, like, Plato, he wrote everything as a play. It's so cool that they're teaching the philosophy as through certain mediums. Or we're learning it through just reading their letters, which is crazy. I wonder if he would have liked that we were learning so much about life by reading his personal letters. I think he would have. Seneca, specifically. And Marcus Aurelius. The one that I've been reading a lot on recently also, I got away from it, now I'm coming back to it, is Epicurus. This book, they changed the title. I forget what it was originally called. It was called, like, Epicurus and His Life and Philosophy. Now it's called The Art of Happiness. It's got a very new age kind of title now, which is funny, because it's the art of happiness, but I would never call it that. Because by calling it that, it's no longer happy in my world. It just kind of, it's like too much now. It's like the art of happy. Like, I like the art of living well. That should be what it was called. That's a better way to put it. Well, okay, so Epicurus was all about being in a good mood, right? But I don't like the word happy. I like content more. So the thing that I've been tripping out on about Epicurus is he had a atheistic philosophy. No real spiritual stuff in here, folks. Now, they were polytheists, many of them, but he actually was more of an atheist. He was like an early version of an atheist. So, correct, yeah. His pupils are the ones that really pulled it together. But the one that I like about Epicurus is he treated his little school, his garden of sorts, he called it, he gave it religious trappings. He did. I think they wore little, like, kind of simple outfits, and they did certain things that were very religious in nature, yet it was an atheistic philosophy. Sound familiar? It's pretty cool. Very new way to look at things for that time. Very new for today's time. Atheistic religious movements. There's a few, not many. I've always been a fan of that. I think that's a important notion to what it all is, because as soon as you take one of those fantasy lines literally and believe it with your heart wholly, you're eliminating certain things. You're closing off certain ways of working. And I think it gets to be dangerous, because when you're confronted with an opposing view, is a problem. You either have to hit it back or leave, because it's not going to work all the time, especially with a monotheistic mindset. So somebody like Epicurus, God, this is 300 BC, folks. This is a long time ago. This is pretty new and awakening for that time period. And a lot of Epicurus's writings are missing, so there's not a lot. But it's, yeah, his students really. I'm trying to think of who. Seneca quotes him a lot. Marcus Aurelius quotes Epictetus, but Seneca's quoting Epicurus a lot. When you see their names, they look similar, but they're very different. Epicurus broke down what is pleasure, and his idea was we're all trying to run away from pain, whether it be physical pain or mental pain. No one wants that. That's not the end. No one's like, God, I hope I have physical pain all day. No one does that. Or if they do, then that's a whole nother story. But no one literally wakes up and goes, God, I hope I have a really sad day today. It's just that's not how it works. So we're always looking for pleasure, and not pleasure meaning like, when you say the word pleasure now, it sounds kind of like either a sexual nature or something. That's not what he meant. His version of pleasure meant the absence of pain. It didn't mean the absence of pain and, back rubs all day. It didn't mean that. It meant just contentment, no pain, tranquility of sorts. And so their concept of that had, they took pleasure and they broke it up into little like boxes. Ah, yes, that's the other guy. Lucretius. He's one of the ones I didn't read up a lot on, though. I see his name all the time, though. I'll get to him. Oh, for sure. Epicurus realized that before the pleasurable thing that you're going for, let's say a big, nice meal, you have the anticipation of it. That's fun. You have eating the meal. That's the other one. And then the end. Your belly's full. You're satisfied. You're going to lay back and have a cigar. Whatever. All three of those are the pleasures. And the goal is to understand where you need to accept pain so that the end goal is the pleasure. This is where our higher mammal brain comes in. The neocortex. The smart guy goes, why would I eat all of that food? It's going to give me a bellyache. I'm going to be in the bathroom all day, and I'm going to get fat. Why not eat less and enjoy it, and then I can do it all the time? That's Epicurus. The smart way. Smart way to be a hedonist. Hedonism dies. Epicurists can keep it rolling. They know how to keep the party rolling. Hence, Party on Wayne. Seriously, that's the whole concept. And making those decisions in your life to ensure a better outcome. I love it. Now, the Stoics come in and they go, that's cool, but your goal shouldn't be that. That's part of the goal. That comes with it. So they had different ways of going about it. I think we all need to find our own way. I think we all need to use all of the above and become Jeet Kune Do. Anybody know that reference? Jeet Kune Do of philosophy. Who's the Jeet Kune Do of philosophers? Excess in pleasure isn't pleasure. Correctamundo. That's the thing between indulging and compulsing. When you're compulsive, you're not indulging at all. Yeah, and that's a concept a lot of people don't understand. I didn't understand it. I had to learn it. All the good stuff we got to learn. Lucretius. Yeah, I'm going to look him up. Who was Lucretius under? Was he tutelage under who? Lucretius. Bruce, you got it. Yeah, Bruce Lee. Jeet Kune Do. He was a philosopher. He was. Do I have it here? Yes, I do. Folks, I'm going to put this out on my philosophy table because I haven't read this in maybe 25 years, but I will read it again. Right here. The Tao of Jeet Kune Do by Bruce Lee. Oh! right. Lucretius was one of Epicurus' star pupils. Correct. Yeah. These names are blurry in my head now. It's wild. So Jeet Kune Do is Bruce Lee's martial arts, and it is the art of no style. Oh, of course you have this book, William. You have good taste. This is a good book. I mean, in a nutshell, he's like, look, if you have a karate style, everybody's gonna know what your weaknesses are, and your strength. But he was like, look, you got to learn all the styles, and you got to find what works best. I had a buddy who was doing Aikido, and he was getting really good at it, and I think he was starting to get belts and like work his way up. And he Silly comes in. Yeah. All right, now we're getting juicy. So my buddy he started going to, in Pittsburgh, PA, a fight club. It was like 20 dudes, and it was like Fight Club. They would go in a room and beat each other. And he was the guy that was going in with Aikido with the whole concept of, I'm never going to hit anybody. I'm just going to deflect. And he got his butt kicked quick. He realized you have to punch back. You can only deflect for a while. Yeah, Silly says, yeah, Stoic philosophy can easily wipe away Epicurean thought. True. Yeah, it does. It hits a wall. I agree with the Epicurus 100%. And then there's the beyond point. And that's where the Stoics come in. Interesting. Yeah, American boxing. Yeah, Bruce Lee liked American boxing, and he used a lot. Oh yeah, William did Tang Sudo, Mok Duk Kwan, and moved to Jeet Kune Do. When I was a little kid, I took Chungkido, which is another Korean martial art. I didn't do well with it. It was a little too hard, sharp for me. I'm more a kung fu guy. And then for years I did Tai Chi and Kung Fu. And then I stopped. I stopped training it a long time ago. I found new ways and new ideas that I liked better. But I still like it. I still do it a little bit. Bruce Lee was a mover. He was a mover. Yeah, William. He knew how to move his body around. Dancing, everything. It's really sad. All right, back, not to bring up, oh, well, you need to get back to your Aikido, Silly. Not to bring up how much I don't like Quentin Tarantino, but the scene in the movie where Bruce Lee gets beat up angered me. It really did. I was shocked. I was like, why would you, like, what are you trying to say by diminishing that guy specifically, other than he heard he was kind of an ass and he had a big head, because that's what he said in the interview. He's like, oh, I heard he was like that. I was shocked. I was like, first of all, he's a Hong Kong guy who just finally broke into Hollywood, and he was still getting treated weird, you know? So I don't know. I would have picked somebody else to pick on. Bruce Lee was the real deal. He really would fight somebody. I mean, if they were, you know, it wasn't a movie thing. He was like the real deal. So is Chuck Norris. Don't get that straight. Get that straight. Chuck is pretty tough too. It was Pitt's gal. Oh yeah, it's the flashback scene. Correct. Yeah. Well, go watch what Bruce Lee's family thought. His wife, they were just like, why would you pick him for that? The guy that actually had a hard time cutting through, and like, I don't know. I'm sure he did. I mean, yeah, Brad Pitt beating up Bruce Lee is laughable. it's just ridiculous. Here's what they should have done. If Tarantino was a good director and he wanted to shock everybody and be cool, he should have had Bruce Lee fight Charlie Manson at the end of the movie. There's the movie. Bruce Lee beating up Charlie Manson and killing him in the pool? Come on. Way better. Yeah, okay, so it sounds like Bruce Lee was a stoic. He understood that. Yeah, he made sure his body could take a beating too, yeah. I'm gonna reread this book. He was the man. I mean, obviously, Enter the Dragon is a work of art. I mean, is the LOL referring to the Charlie Manson Bruce Lee beatdown? Well, it was a tie, but I don't know. It's certain things, certain hubris that I just don't like. That was one of them. Another thing was Elvis's birthday the other day, and we're gonna end soon. It's almost 9. I'm hungry. I want to eat more food. Elvis doesn't get the love he deserves. Now, he's famous. Everybody knows him. Little kids know him. His image is everywhere, right? Some of his back catalog is still huge. If you haven't done it in a while, go look up Elvis Presley live performing. No one comes close. His voice is perfect. Even when he's sick and not in healthy shape, he can sing. He's got a beautiful voice. His personality is amazing. He's kind of a goofball. He's kind of silly, and he's a little shy and a little not shy. And I love Elvis. He's one of my favorite entertainers. He's one of my biggest influences of all time. Honestly, I don't think he gets the love he deserves. Ah, good, William. Well, listen, see? I was listening to him all day the other day. Listen to Elvis sing Blue Moon, which is his early stuff. It's haunting and beautiful. It's really good. And I really like his new stuff too. I like it all. That was my day the other day on Elvis's birthdays. Elvis Records. He died at 42. That's young. It's unbelievable. He looked like he was about 52. Not a healthy guy. And a little high. I think he's beloved, but I mean, if you interview most people in their 20s, they can sing Beatles. They know they listen to the Beatles. They'll put it on when they're taking a shower or hanging out, but they won't put on Elvis. They won't be like, I'm gonna go listen to the old Elvis stuff. They don't do it. It's weird. He definitely was high at the end there. He was on a lot of medicine. You can see it. He looks fuzzy. He's just fogged out, but then he starts singing, and he's on. Yeah. Yeah, you like the Beatles. I don't hate the Beatles. But don't forget what John Lennon said. Before Elvis, there was nothing. That's the John Lennon quote. Yeah, okay, now you see my point. Yeah, everybody knows Elvis, but people don't really listen to him or watch his live videos. Oh, watch the 68. If you don't watch anything Elvis and you want to see something, look up Elvis 68 Comeback Special. He really shines. And he looks great and he sounds great and the production's good. Yeah. All right, folks. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to start working tomorrow morning on Wednesday. And I'm working on Behind the Devil's Curtain, Episode 7. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button. If you're into donating, here you go. Bam. There's the Streamlabs link. It all goes back into the show. And I got a lot of cool episodes I'm working on. I actually, the other day, got excited working on the new stuff because I get to do more research into what I always like. And get ready for some werewolves. Get ready for some biblical, groundbreaking stuff that most people don't know about. If you don't know this stuff, you're going to love it. And you're going to love telling people about it. Because you're going to watch Headspin. When I tell people there's ventriloquism in the Bible, they're like, what? And then when you show them, they're like, wow. No one told me that before. It's kind of fun. It's definitely wondrous when you learn some of these things. So I'm excited, and I'm glad I had an audience tonight, and I'm very thankful for that. You guys are awesome. I got a smart crew in here. We got Amanda, Rick, Silly, William, who else? Oh, yeah. We got Brother Nick is in here. We got Davidson. Good crew tonight. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to end with this. First of all, if you're not on it, go here to satanicplayingcards.com and put your name on the mailing list, because we are starting our new business, M. Diaboli, and that is going to be the website. T-shirts, playing cards, lifestyle brand for people who like all things super dark. And the cards are getting done and worked on as we speak. So, folks, where am I? Gosh, I'm like bopping around here. Here I am. I'm over and out. I'll see you Wednesday. And maybe tomorrow night I'll be on Instagram Live. So thank you, everybody. Any episode ideas? Throw them at me. Get them out. Somebody threw out Flash Gordon, and I did an episode on it last week. I forget who did that. Somebody mentioned it. I was like, I'm going to do an episode. So, cool beans, everybody. Party on, and I am out.